Hi, this is Debbie Simpson with the Be Free Respect podcast. This is from the blog post, What is Be Free Respect? My story, as read from BeFreeRespect.com. This post was originally shared on April 1st, 2024. Before we begin, I want to remind you that I am not a brain specialist or brain rewiring expert. I am simply sharing my personal journey and my personal understanding as it makes sense to me. I'd also like to add that while this episode may look short, my story, just like your story or anybody else's story, is far from short. I included links in the written post as well as in the description below that dig more deeply into what Be Free Respect is all about. Once you're done listening here, be sure to check out the description for continued links and information. Thanks. So what is Be Free Respect and who am I? We all have a story, don't we? My journey to Be Free Respect has been 24 years in the making. Receiving answers and having a need to share them inspired my personal advocacy efforts 24 years ago. Various health issues that I sought answers to, however, began long before that. For those who wonder about that name, Be Free Respect, I'm going to share my timeline below. It's a long story, but I'll keep this post short by simply including links to other posts that dig more deeply into the discovery of an answer that is empowering my life in such positive ways. First up, celiac and a gluten-free diet. A celiac diagnosis almost 24 years ago was such a pivotal moment in my life. That answer and a strict gluten-free diet was life-changing, but not as many might think. For me, that diagnosis was a far greater blessing than the challenges of the dietary restrictions that came with it. From the moment I removed gluten from my diet, my health just continued to improve. This answer and that amazing upward climb through improved health brought out the advocate in me almost instantaneously. My advocacy efforts were a big part of my life for several years. That name, Gluten-Free Respect, was developed through these efforts. Next up, fragrance illness and advocacy for change. A few short years into my gluten-free life and continued health improvements, I developed something new and far more challenging, a sensitivity to fragrance chemicals. This started out as a nuisance, but it became much more than that. That fragrance, air quote, sensitivity became a far greater challenge than my gluten-free requirements ever were. As you'll see if you read the articles from the links below, this became far more than a sensitivity. It became an isolating disability. After 20 years of support and advocacy through Gluten-Free Respect, I switched gears and created Fragrance-Free Respect in August of 2021. And finally, Be Free Respect and personal change. I was 6 months into my fragrance-free advocacy campaign when I discovered hope for a way out of the increasingly more disabling and isolating impact fragrance chemicals were having on me. That journey, with the changes and the increased light I'm finding in my life, became Be Free Respect. Discovering that I can be free of such a devastating issue has brought out my need to be vocal once again. Be Free Respect is simply my journey and my thoughts along the way. If you're interested in the road that led me to brain retraining or in following my journey at all, check out the links below. My timeline and links to my journey that led me to be free. And as I shared at the start of this episode, these links are all below in the description, including a link to the written post if you want to just go there and check that out. Okay, so the following 4 articles pretty well sum up my journey over the last quarter of a century almost. And those links are included in the description below. The first one I wrote several years ago, and it's titled A Lifetime of Undiagnosed Celiac, A Life Put on Hold. The next 2 describe my fragrance sensitivity and my recognition of the impact it's been having on my life. And they are titled Fragrance Sensitivity Part 1, Where It Began, and Fragrance Sensitivity Part 2, Personal Impact. And then finally, well, it took its time, and it took an ultimate low point for me to investigate what brain retraining was all about. But I shared that journey and that discovery in the article titled Brain Rewiring, I Wasn't Ready. I hope you check them out. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the reading of this blog post as read from BeFreeRespect.com. Check out the website for other blog posts. And check out this Joy and Gratitude Journal Trio. Ease into your journal writing routine with the 30-day starter journal available on Amazon.